Good evening, and welcome to PlayPSVR, the podcast, episode 30. It's nice to be back here. I've stopped vomiting, so that's wonderful. I think my wife might be the one who's vomiting now. So is it food poisoning or is it a communicable illness? That's the great mystery. It's the great adventure. They should make a VR game where you go through a house and try to find out why my wife might be vomiting. Adam, is that a game that you'd be interested in?
It sounds like Torn.
way to hit the nail on the head, Adam. You knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I did.
Adam, thanks for joining me this evening. Right off the bat, we got to get going. I want to talk to you about Gamer Juice. So we had the guys respond to us about Gamer Juices. Do you remember their names? Because I'm a jerk and I don't remember names.
Lenny and Bastion.
Lenny and Bastion recommended Mountain Dew and Dr. Pepper with lime. So Adam, have you taken heed of their advice? Are you drinking Lenny or Bastion's Gamer Juices?
Well, I wanted to. I went to go get a Dr. Pepper, and I couldn't find one in a glass bottle, and I want a glass bottle. So sorry, Lenny, I didn't do it. But once I find a glass bottle with Dr. Pepper in it, I'm definitely going to pull the trigger.
So what's your Gamer Juice?
So quickly, I got Steve's Iced Green Tea Blueberry Pomegranate Flavored. Organic, real good. It's got that nice... It's like sweet, but not too sweet. It's perfect. It's fantastic. Supposedly green tea is supposed to be good for you. Who knows? Lightly sweetened, real good. I've been enjoying it. I've only had a couple sips, so I'm loving it. How about you? What's your Gamer Juice?
That was actually what I thought about you, Adam, when I first met you. Sweet, but not too sweet. My Gamer Juice, sorry, Bastion, I don't like to drink just straight up Mountain Dew. Something about drinking all those calories just makes me feel weird. I just save that room for Burger King. But in honor of you, I decided to go out and get, it's called a Not Your Father's Mountain Ale. Now, they call it a Mountain Ale because I can't say Mountain Dew, but it's basically like an adult version of Mountain Dew. So I drink some of that, and it's very good. I actually think it probably has way more sugar and a lot more calories than Mountain Dew, so I probably did myself a disservice here. But, you know, it comes in a nice green bottle, and I feel proper bummy drinking it, so that's good. But to balance that out, a little bit of health infusion, I also, as you know, I like to bring multiple drinks. I decided to drink, it's called Protein 2O, protein-infused water, and it is the Wild Cherry edition. So this is something I've always wanted. It's water with whey protein mixed in, because I'm a very buff guy. If you guys have seen pictures of me, I'm very ripped and swole, and I lift a lot of weights and lift a lot of heavy things. If you know anything about me, it's that I'm very strong, and so I need this kind of stuff to keep my strength up. It's got, you know, only 60 calories. That's great. I think they're all protein calories, and the main ingredient's water, and the second ingredient is whey protein isolate. So I'm very strong. Adam, do you think you'll ever be as strong as me?
I will never be as strong smelling as you. There's no way. It's just
old man jokes right out of the gate. Oh, yeah. God.
Hey, Alex. So we're on episode 30. Yet I'm still younger than the number of episodes we are. How about you?
Yeah, I'm older than the number of episodes we are.
That's right. You're an old man. You are old, and now I'm going to tell you. I'm just going to get off my back. I need to get this off my chest because I've been bearing the anguish too long. A few weeks ago, I told you that Detached was my most is the game that I was most disappointed in, or it was the biggest underachiever. I forgot exactly what word I said it was, but you know, it was only there a few weeks. We now have a new winner. The biggest disappointment for Adam Stewart on the PSVR library is Torn. First of all, I have a problem with you too, Alex. You freaking suck. I've been talking about this game and how it was dark and mysterious and creepy, and you're in this mansion, and it looks like a type of game that I would be into. You knew all along it had nothing to do with fright and scary and creepy. You know, it was a freaking puzzle game the whole time. Why wouldn't you tell me so I would have tempered expectations about this game that, no, Adam, what you think it isn't. It's actually just a very standard puzzle game that's not scary one bit or creepy. Answer me, son.
I don't know what to tell you, Adam. I mean, it's not that hard to look up trailers. I had the exact information that you had, so all you had to do is look at a trailer or read a preview or something and see that it's just kind of like a puzzling adventure game. So you can be as mad at me.
I did read a review, you butthole, and essentially it said you are working with a scientist to find and solve the mystery of his missing wife. That's what I read. It said you were lost in a mansion. I didn't want to look at trailers because it ruins it, and I like to go in fresh. And so I thought it's supposed to be based off Black Mirror. Well, if you've ever watched the show Black Mirror, it's dark and scary and metaphorical. This wasn't any of that. It sucked. No, there wasn't even a jump scare. There wasn't even the slightest inclination that they were even trying to arouse you whatsoever. I could have sat there with my pants between my ankles for the whole game and not been a single scared of a thing. Anyhow, so there's so many issues with this game. First of all, right off the bat, I'm a little angry because I held it in such high regard and then I got burned. I got torn a new one. And so I'm going to give it about 6.5 when I review it on our website. And so it's not a horrible game, but I do think it was very misleading. They didn't put out much info about it. They said it was about Black Mirror. It has nothing to do with freaking Black Mirror. The puzzles are very redundant. And let me tell you, Alex, I'm going to pull it up on the internet right here. What is the definition of a puzzle? Go ahead. How about you tell me that, Alex? Or what, if I literally, like I'm doing now, what is the definition of a puzzle?
I haven't Googled it, but I would just say something where you have to take pieces and put them together to create a whole picture, whether that be like jigsaw pieces or, a little bit of juice, a little bit of game, put it together, make a game of juice. Okay,
there we go. Good enough. That, kind of like puzzle. Here is the definition. There's two, verb and a noun. So let me read both of them. Verb is a cause for someone to feel confused because they cannot understand or make sense of something. And the noun is a game, toy, or problem designed to test ingenuity or knowledge. Torn, you read the freaking definition. You puzzle game my butthole. That's not a freaking puzzle game. There's not a single puzzle in the MFing game. That's stupid. Are you kidding me? Alex, you have a daughter. I don't know. She's young, whatever. She probably just learned to not poop her pants. So, those stupid little games you buy kids who are idiots, that all it is like a shape and there's a hole in which they can put the shape in. And so, like, okay, you can't put the star shape in the square hole. The square hole or the square shape has to go in the square hole. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That is torn. Those are the so-called puzzles. It is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. And not only is it not, like, I couldn't believe it. There was no puzzles, Alex. They are not difficult whatsoever. They're not puzzles because it doesn't test anything. All you do is grab it and, in a way, use your tool that can move it anywhere in space, and you put it on the wall or wherever it tells you to, and every now and then you have to rotate an object to get it to fit the right way. That's not a puzzle. That's not ingenuity. I'm not testing anything but my effing patience. Learn what a puzzle is. So the whole game, all it is about a plot, in which I'm not going to get into that. Come on, and $30? $30? Are you mad? Like, this is ridiculous. Granted, it's like 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours, I would guess. So it is like decent long, but come on. I got misled up the butthole. $30, F you. And it was horribly disappointing. It hurt my soul. But yet those stupid plot-based games, they wrap you in. And once you're halfway through and you already realize you're taking it up the behind, you can't stop. You got to see how it ends. And so I just took it up there for another 4 hours. So that's my week, Alex. We'll talk about Firewall a little later. But hopefully you've been playing something better than I have.
Oh, Adam, just all this talk about, grabbing rods and sticking them up your star hole. It's just a recurring theme with you, Adam. But would you say that you might like this game more if you hadn't expected anything of it? Like, imagine you hadn't heard anything. You didn't expect it to be like a scary or Black Mirror type game. Do you think you would have still enjoyed it?
No, I would not have, because it's so boring and redundant. I'm dumbfounded. I don't even know what to say. Like, the plot's not bad. But the gameplay, I think, is the worst gameplay. Okay, it's better than Ranch Planet. It's one for a actual game, not Ranch Planet, not Rabbit Hole. Exactly, like an actual game. It's the worst gameplay that I've seen. Like it's horrible. There's just nothing else to say, and nothing's gonna change that. I could have thought that if I had finished it, I've got $10,000, and it still would have been a sucky game. So whatever. Tell me, what games have you been playing?
That's rough, Adam. Well, let's see. I played some this week. I played a lot of Firewall, so we'll talk about that later. I also played Theseus. I finally bought that and played that. And this game is, it's really pretty, and I really like the idea of trying to make a third person experience in VR. So just like a third person game, almost like a really slow and boring version of God of War in VR. The graphics and the atmosphere works really well in VR, but the gameplay is just not tight in Theseus. So you're basically going through the labyrinth. It looks like the afterlife almost. I haven't gotten deep enough to know exactly what's happening. And you're trying to get to, what's her name? Ariadne, some goddess or mythological character. And in the center of the labyrinth, and trying to get to the center of the labyrinth, you're avoiding the Minotaur, which is a giant, it's a man or a guardian of the labyrinth who's been turned by demonic powers or something into this giant bull beast that's hell-bent on killing anybody who intrudes. The atmosphere is moody and scary. The graphics are really pretty, but the gameplay is just what I've played. It's really robotic and stiff. And then there's areas where you kind of don't know why you die. When you die really abruptly. There's a part where I'm walking through a dark cavern and I have a torch, and the torch is the only thing lighting the dark cavern, and the cavern's full of spiders. And you're supposed to wave the torch around to make the spiders get scared. But the waving animation doesn't quite trigger exactly when you hit it, and it's kind of hard to tell when you're supposed to wave at the spiders to make them not attack you. And then when they do jump at you and attack you and kill you, they kill you in one hit. And the game doesn't even show you getting hit or anything. It just kind of goes in slow motion, and then you just assume that you died and you're kind of teleported back to where you were. This is a game that would be really good if they just were a little bit better mechanically. It'd be really fun if it was just a bit better mechanically. So I enjoy what it's doing, and I'm probably going to play it to completion because I hear it's not too long. But those are just my 2 cents about Theseus. I'd love to see somebody with a bit more experience in programming like an engine or the mechanics of a third-person game like this. It doesn't have to be action-packed like God of War. Just something that's a bit more smooth, feels a little bit less rigid, and maybe a bit more forgiving in these what feels like glorified QuickTime events. A little bit more forgiving in that aspect of it, because I'd be happy if there wasn't a ton of combat and I'm just moving through this, moody atmospheric castle, almost like Eco for the PlayStation 2. Adam, I know I made some references there that you didn't pick up on, but that's just my thoughts on Theseus. The other game I played, I want to talk about because I feel like I didn't give a good enough count for it. Let's blame it on the sickness last week. Bow to Blood. This game is really good, and I want to give it another pass. I want to try to explain better what it is. I heard some people describe it as almost like a Star Trek bridge crew type game mixed with some shooting action. So this is a game where you're the captain of a ship. And as the captain of the ship, you have to fly around an arena and you have to fight these AI enemies, these robots that spawn in this, 3-dimensional arena that is really beautiful. And it has flying buildings and islands that you have to navigate around. And you're basically going around and shooting things and collecting points or collecting keys or trying to find hidden eggs, or there's even races, or there's things where you got to try to kill as many guys as possible. You're flying this big ship through this 3-dimensional space. And it's a ship like a pirate ship almost, but you're flying in the air. So that means, you can move your ship up and you can move your ship down and you can turn left and right. And so the movement isn't really swift like something like Eve Valkyrie, but you're on a boat, so you have to be more deliberate in your actions, and you got to be patient as things start to turn. So while you're navigating the ship, you also are using the aim controller the move controller to move a crosshair around the screen, and you're choosing how you fire on enemies. So, if you shoot at enemies on your side, you have your cannons on your side. If you shoot at enemies in front of you, you have lasers shooting in front of you. So the position of your ship is really important in terms of how you're going to deal damage. On the console, as the captain of the ship, you also have 4 different components to your ship. So you have shields, you have sensors, you have guns, and you have engines. and you are able to allocate a crew member. You have 2 crew members. You're able to move crew members to different parts of the ship. And if a crew member is in one of those parts of the ship, it gives you kind of a bonus to that part. So if a crew member is in guns, you do more damage. If a crew member is in sensors, you're able to see where things are in the environment. So you can go towards, get more money or get to your goal or something like that. And if they are in the engines, then you go like 1 level faster. And so while you're navigating this arena and you're fighting these enemies, you're constantly allocating resources, more or less, moving your characters around the ship to make sure that you're able to move around and optimize. Do I want to do a lot of fighting right now and have good shields, or do I want to be able to move really quickly and see where I'm going? And so you kind of have this duality going on where there's combat that you're thinking about with one part of your brain, and using the other part of your brain to kind of manage how things are working on the ship. And then on top of that, you have these little elements that you're able to allocate to these 4 different components that kind of give you boosts in general of special missiles and things like that if you put it in your ammunition, or extra shield boost that you can do, or turbos that you can do with your engine thrusters, or like these sensor robots that can go out and stun enemies. That gameplay alone would be enough to just make it a really fun game that I think everybody should play in VR, because it's really thrilling to be flying through the air with your boat turning in the sky, and you're going up and you're going down, and you're slowly creeping around rocks trying to dodge enemies, and you're dipping below the mist and out of the mist to escape somebody pursuing you. It's all really fun. And then on top of that, there's this layer of like a reality TV show, where it's like a season of these competitions, of these gameplay trials that you're taking part in. And your goal is to go through each one of these levels and try to get as many points as possible. And then of you and the 8 or so other characters in the game, whoever the 2 characters at the end with the 2 lowest points are voted on, and whoever gets voted to leave gets eliminated. So your goal is to make sure that as you go through these levels, you're not at the bottom of the list so you don't get voted out. And you're also communicating with all of the other characters in the competition and trying to make pacts and form bonds and deciding who to screw over and who to be friends with. And, this guy I really like, he helped me out in the past. I want to give him some extra money so he's not stuck in the bottom. And then, maybe hopefully if I'm stuck in the bottom, he'll give me some money to help me get out of the bottom so somebody else will get voted out. So there's some political stuff here. It's not extremely nuanced and it's not extremely complicated, but it's just like a fun thing added on to this game that already has wonderful gameplay. They just added an extra wrinkle to it, and it's like a relaxing interlude between the missions. So, Adam, did I explain the game better now? Do you have a better understanding of what this game is like?
A little bit. I mean, I'm mainly interested in it for this reason. Torn was a stinker. To me, Firewall is overhyped. Catch and Release, I think, is going to be fine. I think it is what it is. Surely out of this week, out of all the games, one of them's got to be good. So it looks like it's going to be Bout of Blood. So I'm thinking about buying it.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a really good time with it. It's single player only, and multiplayer would be really fun, but it's perfectly fine and serviceable without multiplayer. It's got great atmosphere. It's got wonderful graphics, and it's got a whole lot of charm to it. So I don't think anybody would regret playing it. You have weird taste, Adam. I don't know how you decide what games you like and what games you hate, so I can't recommend anything to you, it seems like, but I would be confident in telling you or anybody that they'd probably enjoy this game. If you don't have any questions, Adam, let's go on to a little bit of news before we go on to our next segment. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good. So the first thing is that there is now a physical release of Apex Construct. And so me personally, like the collector in me wants physical discs, but it's just too convenient to have digital. I mean, you don't have to mess with the disc. You can just open it on your PlayStation. If you want to switch games, it's easy peasy. I don't got the room. I don't have the space. I don't have a cool like man cave where I can keep all my physical games. So this is cool. I think it's Perp Games, right? That they actually sent you one, right, Alex?
Yeah, they sent us a physical copy, so I'm going to get to play it, and I'm going to do a review of it. I know you reviewed it, but now I'm going to review it too. And like you said, Adam, it's really easy with digital games, but I also really like physical releases. It's stupid, and there's no reason, but I like seeing that list on my bookshelf grow of the games that I own for a console. And, it's difficult sometimes. Like, I haven't played Rez as much as I should have, and I haven't played Dirt Rally as much as I should have because those are physical games. And so when I'm in the middle of gaming and I decide I want to play something else, I don't feel like taking off my headset and potentially losing my tracking and calibration to put in a game. But you know, Apex Construct, I know it's not too long of a game, so I'm gonna hopefully put it in my console and forget that it's in my console and just play it at my leisure until I've beaten it and you know, gotten all of my gameplay out of it. That's what I'm hoping for. But I'm happy to put this on my shelf. I know it's a good game. I like the demo of it, so I'm looking forward to playing it. Also, another piece of news, Megaton Rainfall. The patch came out to add move functionality, and now they repatched it thinking of what people were complaining about. So there was something where the blinders were stuck on. Now that has been fixed, and they also fixed some issues with the free roam mode, which, Adam, I think you wanted a free roam mode, and that was one of your complaints, is you would like a free roam where you could just blast things without having to worry about the game ending, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like they added that in. I'm not sure. I heard something like it might not be available in VR version yet. I hope that's not the case, because this game, I love this game. It's phenomenal for me. And now they added move functionality that's going to make it even crazier and more fun. And then if there's a free range mode, that's even better. So that's just a piece of news I think I want to share with people, because if you don't have to keep your ear to the ground, then you're not going to know when these patches come out. And this is a pretty big patch. So I want people to, you know, experience Megaton Rainfall if they haven't, or if they got put away on the last patch. Do you have any other news, Adam?
I don't think so. The only news I have, which is a special treat for our listeners, is that we have a guest on the podcast next segment. Name is Kevin. We'll talk to him, and I'm looking forward to him. It sounds like a great guy from what we've talked to him before, but this is the first time that I'll hear his beautiful voice, at least, I guess, in person, because he also runs a podcast, and we'll talk about that next segment. So stick with us and our conversation with Kevin, and we're going to dive into some Firewall Zero Hour too. So stick with us, and we'll cover all of that stuff up and coming. Welcome to the second part of PlayPSVR, the podcast. We want to welcome you back, and we have a special treat for you. Right now, I want to introduce to you Kevin. He's one of our fans of the podcast. He's a content creator himself, and he's one of the creators of the Backlog Exposed podcast. Kevin, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on. So, yeah, this is, like you just said, I'm a fan of the show. I've been listening for, I'd say, a couple of months, because I just found you guys by Googling PSVR podcasts, and definitely one of the ones that is on my rotation getting to work. You guys have a very good segment that you tend to do where you rip back and forth between games, and that's something I always kind of I dig when you guys do that. So wanted to reach out to you guys, talk to you a little bit about it. Like you said, I'm a content creator as well, so I'm trying to meet more of the people in this realm so I can learn more about the realm itself. It's definitely a pretty fun one to be a part of.
Nice. And so right off the bat, I have a question for you, and it's a very serious one.
Yes.
Kevin, are you smoking marijuana right now?
Fortunately, no, I'm not.
Okay. And for those listening, the reason I'm asking, and I guess also for you, Kevin, and probably Alex, he doesn't know, someone in my apartment complex, or someone where I am, is smoking. They're having the best time of their life. There's got to be like a thigh-sized joint somewhere, because I am smelling so much weed right now. And I was wondering if it was coming through the mic, if you were going all Cheech and Chong on us. But if it's not you, Alex, is it you?
Adam, it sounds like you've gotten so high that you've misplaced your joint, and you're trying to blame it on somebody else. Are you getting paranoid? Do you think we're going to catch you or something, Adam? We don't have the camera on. We can't see you.
Dude,
yeah,
the only joint I have is a ball and socket.
But no. Check your couch. Make sure it's not on fire.
I actually don't have a couch, so I'm currently in my bathroom, because that's where I do my recording.
That's where you do all your joint smoking. I get it. You turn on the fan, nobody knows.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so Kevin, from my understanding, you are a PSVR guy. You've played. Give us like some background. How long you've been playing PSVR? How did you get in it? Have you played most of the games, or like what's your style? Give us some background there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a gamer for life. I'm nearing my 40th birthday. It's coming up pretty quick. And I've been gaming since I was 4 or 5 years old. You know, since before the first Nintendo came out, we were playing the ColecoVision and Commodore 64 and things like that. So I've had gaming in my life all my life, every step of the way. And you know, there was a point when you'd get made fun of for being a gamer, and luckily now into my adult life, it's not the same. I've had a pretty decent run of jobs and have a decent career. So I don't drink a ton and I don't smoke. So I tend to use that money to fuel my habits, and my habits are video games. So you say, how long have I been waiting, or how did I get into VR? I mean, I've been waiting since 1986 or 7 when we had the Power Glove. I don't know if you guys recall that, but
yeah, man,
I had
it's so bad.
Yeah, but we tried the hell out of it. I mean, I remember my little tiny hand trying to make those things bend, and it was so hard to do, but we loved it. We gave it everything we could, and then they discontinued it, and I was so bummed out because games really didn't work with it. But it put that taste in your mouth, you know. And then you had the VR Boy or whatever that thing was called, and then you had a
boy. You show respect. The virtual boy.
Alex will go ham on you, man. He loves the virtual boy.
Yeah, keep me in line. Absolutely, virtual boy. So yeah, I mean, then you really didn't hear much about it for years, you know, about like the future progress of VR. Not in the mainstream, anyways. You could search for it. I think about 10 years ago, Google was doing some cool augmented reality stuff, Lens, and all these different things. But it was just the cell phones trying to keep up with what consumers would pay for, you know. And then all of a sudden, you hear about Project Morpheus, and you hear about Facebook buying Oculus, and all these things, and it started really taking hold. I pre-ordered the VR the day pre-orders were allowed, and I got it the day you know, Amazon sent it to me. I had it in my front door, ready to go the day it launched. So wow. I've been playing it. I will admit I don't get to play it near as much as I thought I would, or I thought that I would be able to sit on my couch with this headset on while my wife watched TV, and everything would be fine because I'd be in my own little world, and then I could just take the headset off and go to eat dinner or whatever. No, you can't. When you have your kids running around, especially during the beginning of all this, my baby was born, my second baby. So, you know, you have a newborn baby, you can't be putting yourself in the headset if you're the only one at home watching a newborn baby. So I went weeks sometimes without being able to play it. But when you talk about the collection, one of the things that started my podcast is the Backlog. So my podcast is called The Backlog Exposed. So you can find us at thebacklogexposed.com, or you can search Apple, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, any of the big ones, we're there. And it stems from the fact that I have a good 200 games sitting in my backlog that I need to play through. Jeez. And these are all games I plan on playing, you know, and most of them are current within the last 2 or 3 years, but I go ham, man. I buy anything that, usually when it's a sale, you know, if these sales happen, these summer sales and stuff, I'll buy 20 games, you know, I'll go spend $200-$300 and I'll get a boatload of games. But
Adam groans, but that's like that's me like every 2 months. It's like, oh, you know what? I really want to play Sniper Elite 3 one day. So let's go ahead and buy it while it's $2 because you never know when it's going to be $2 again. I'm never going to play Sniper Elite 3. I never played 1 and 2, and I'm not going to play 4.
Alex is only he's still on Pokemon Red. So I mean,
but so there are probably games in my arsenal here that will never get touched, but I have them, and I also look at it. I'm a total digital guy. I don't buy too many physical copies of discs. I really love the digital world. I don't know if you guys are involved in this little trick, but one of the things that my buddy and I have done for the past 3 or 4 years is his PlayStation is my primary PlayStation, and my PlayStation is his primary PlayStation. So we can play any games we buy together. Any games that he buys, I can play on mine, and any game I buy, he can play on his. So
wait, how's that work?
That's brilliant.
Oh yeah. And this is something that, you know, you would have thought they would have turned off a long time ago, but if you log into your PlayStation with somebody else's account, they can play every game that you've purchased on your PlayStation. So if you make your PlayStation your friend's PlayStation, well, any game that any time they log into your PlayStation, they're a guest, but they're playing their account, and they can play every game that they've purchased on that PlayStation,
Holy
including.
crap.
Adam, I need you to tell me your password right now, over the air, so I don't lose it.
Wait. So, but I have a question. Can that said person access all of my Little Star files? That was a good one.
That depends if you have an external hard drive set up, or it depends on the level of content you're dealing with here. But no, it's such a cool thing to be able to do. I mean, it saves you a lot of money. And the other cool thing is, like, if you buy a Call of Duty or something like that, you can both play at the same time. There's no one looking at your license and saying, hey, you haven't purchased this, but this person has. It's on the system. You can play it, multiplayer, all that.
So we could have bought one copy of Firewall Zero Hour.
Or we could have bought one copy of Stunt Kite Master VR.
But I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. No, I'm not starting this again, dang it, okay? You've had enough. Dang it, okay. Kevin, I'm going to jump to start talking about Firewall Zero Hour because we haven't talked about it too much on the podcast. I need your opinion because I told Alex my opinion last segment. We just scratched the surface of it. And I don't want to talk about Stunt Kite Master VR anymore. So I'm just sick of it.
I got to admit, after listening to your episode, and I was scrolling through the store, and I saw that, and I giggled, and I kept going, but I almost purchased it. I almost purchased it.
It'll bite you one day. It's like a tick. It's like a tick. Once it gets in you, it's not going to go until it's ready to burst.
When it's $1.99 or something, absolutely. But so Firewall's $40, right? I mean, I think that's what I paid for, $40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to answer your question, yes, this is a game where if you bought it and you guys shared the systems, yeah, I mean, hopefully your developers aren't listening here, but that's the way it would work if you could do that. Farpoint's one of them. You both would have to have the aim controller, but if you wanted to play that way.
Oh, we got aim, baby.
I think there's other reasons why it wouldn't work doing that, but we'll get into that later. Just in terms of connection and internet and matchmaking and things like that.
Yeah. Okay, so Kevin, here's my overall idea of, you haven't listened to the first segment obviously because you weren't here and we just recorded it. So I think that Firewall is a good game. Actually, you know what? How about you tell me your thoughts first, and then I don't want to dirty your mind with my cynical thoughts.
Okay, so I'm going to be as real as possible here because I tend to get a little amped up, like I was saying earlier in the pregame. When you pay for something, you want it to be better than it is. Or you want it to be as good as you think it's going to be, or whatever, right? So I try, when I'm doing a review, I try to see it from the proper lenses as opposed to those lenses, the ones where I'm like, oh man, I just paid $60 for this thing. It's got to be good. And I also try not to look at the hype when I'm giving a review. That being said, I do allow for what the game could do to the genre that I love. I love VR games. So with the success of this, I don't want to lie about the good or the bad of it. I want it to be the best game it possibly can be so that it can further the movement of VR, because I want to see it get stronger for the next generation. I want to see it continue this generation and be strong with more releases and stuff like that. So that being said, I'm going to say, I believe this is one of the strongest games that PSVR has available. I've only been able to play a limited amount. I'd say about 5 hours. Okay, it's been out for a couple of days, so I would have loved to play a little bit more to be able to say that definitively. There are definitely pros and cons. I'm not afraid to call out the cons, and I think that if they can take care of some of these, we're looking at a top-tier game. But the cons are alarming in some of the viewpoints I see. It can't be a top-tier game unless some of these things are taken care of. So I think it has the capabilities of being there, but it's not there yet.
So did you try to play with anybody else, or did you just join games with random people?
Well, the first thing I did was play the solo stuff. I did a bunch of training to get a feel for the weapon. I also was doing it on breaks and things like that. So I didn't want to jump into a game, and I didn't know how long a game would take. I didn't know, really what the multiplayer was going to be like at all. So I just wanted to wait till I had some time to do that. So the first couple of hours I was doing shooting around the house, walking. I thought that the training was a little too much. The teleportation abilities of these enemies was just crazy. I don't know if you guys felt that, but you can't.
They just show up in droves.
They just show up in droves. Yeah, and they're just like firing at you from every angle. And there's 15 or 20 of them in that house in that training session. And maybe it was just to get us prepared for being jumpy in the game. I don't know. I'd like to hear more about why they chose that technique. But you can't hear the doors open. You can't hear the footsteps of them coming up the stairs. I mean, I couldn't. And I'm going to play some more to really try to focus and listen. But, playing Fortnite or playing any of these other games, Call of Duty or whatever, you can hear people running around. You can hear them. And so I'm used to that. So when the door opens up and I'm being shot from behind, I have no idea what the hell's going on. That pisses me off a little bit. That was just the training. In the multiplayer, I noticed the same thing. I noticed that if there is audio from the enemies, you can't really, you can't hear it. You can hear the gunfire, and you can definitely pinpoint locations using the gunfire. But I had a hard time with that. I thought that was something that, I don't know if that was by design or if I'm just not hearing it, if it's there. But you definitely got to have better audio when it comes to, you can hear I don't know if you guys noticed, but you can brush your gun against a wall or something, and you can hear that.
Yeah. I don't know if they can hear it though, and that's something I freaked myself out on one of the levels because I was being real sneaky and moving real slowly, and I knew I was in the middle of like a group of enemies, and my gun banged against like a metal tank, and I almost crapped myself. But I don't think the enemies can hear it. But just that's a testament to this game and how tense things can be when me bumping my virtual gun into a virtual wall makes me want to just like piss myself.
Yeah, I agree. And then a couple of other things that I noticed that really kind of stuck out to me, and I've seen this go both directions. I've seen people say it's good for the game and it's bad for the game or whatever, but the movement speed just doesn't feel natural and it doesn't feel fast enough. I think that with that, you don't get any sense of sickness. I didn't have VR, sickness or anything like that at all with this game, but you're moving a mile an hour. And when you have people that are literally behind a wall and they pop up on you or you pop up on them and you need to get the hell out of Dodge, you can't. You got to back up real slow or whatever, or stand straight up to do it. And they got to add some more movement techniques like a double hop or something so you can skip off to the side because it's natural to be able to do that. You wouldn't, maybe a tumble roll or something, I don't know, but you wouldn't unnaturally crouch walk backwards 1 mile an hour if there's a guy around a gun pointed at you. So that's another one. The movement felt good at times, like really good. I like the fact that you can do the stealth and that the stealth is such a big part of the game. But at the same time, if I want to run and gun and get blown away, let me. They have a character that says he's faster than everybody else, but you know what? It was negligible. I couldn't tell at all that he was faster.
That's because you were moving at the speed of light and time slowed down.
That's true.
So what was it? Do you have like a favorite moment that's happened with the game so far?
Yes. So a couple of the pros, like the pro moments in this game, I thought very strong matchmaking in the sense that you get to stick with your team and it's your team. If they stay, you stay. And it's not like Call of Duty where randomizes every round. So we jumped in and there was the group that I had, we were all brand new. It was our first games ever, all four of us. And so the team that we were playing against beat the shit out of us like real fast. So we were like, okay, let's regroup. How are we going to do this? And so we started formulating a plan. We lost the second round. We lost the third round. By the end of the third round, we were buddies, like three of us, the four of us in the group. One of them didn't have a mic, but he would raise his gun every time we were talking. He could acknowledge us. And so we were hell-bent on winning, and then we just went on a streak. We won like 7 games in a row, and it was really fun. We were starting to use tactics, and we were employing like they said in the commercials, like they said in the buildup of this, if you start implementing actual game plans, you can be pretty strong in this game. So once you start to understand the maps and you start to understand where people might go, you can be prepared, and you can, rather than, come jutting out of a corner or something, you can be prepared for where they might be coming. or you can launch a grenade into a hallway or a smoke bomb into a hallway where you think they're going to be, and you can actually use that smoke to sneak around. And I thought that was very strong in this game. It was very, very interesting to be able to utilize smoke grenades as a tactic as opposed to a damaging effect to somebody else.
See, I always had the opposite effect with the smoke grenades. You hold down the button and it shows the arc of where the grenade's going to go, and so I land it there, and then it rolls like another 3 meters away. And so what should be a really clever placement of a smoke grenade is actually just tucked away in a corner behind a filing cabinet, and I'm just walking, doing my obvious dance down the hallway.
I noticed that, and I actually started placing it. If you expect the roll, you can actually place it and bounce it off of things. And so I started playing with that in one of the games, and I got a multi-kill with a grenade doing that. So
nice. Well, see, I'm a bad special agent person, so that's why I really don't like killing people, and I'm not good at it like you murderer.
When we were playing, we had this guy actually. He let his son play, and the son sounded maybe 6 or 7 years old. And in the background, he's sitting there saying, "Okay, this is how you hold the gun. No, put the rifle up against your arm. No, this is how you pull the trigger. You want to aim. You want to aim for their head." And he's sitting there like, so we were all laughing because we were like, Jesus Christ, what is he teaching this kid, So we had a lot of fun with that. And the kid came in, and we all died, but he died last, of course, the 6-year-old. And then the guy gets back on him. He was like, "That was kind of fucked up, wasn't it?" We were like, "Yeah, that was a little messed up."
It's really bad whenever you died and he teabagged you, right?
Oh man,
dude, that's one thing they could add. I would love to teabag people.
Of course. But I only played multiplayer with that one core group, and we played for quite some time, way longer than I thought we would be playing as a group. And so in that particular group, that was the only instance where we had a kid playing, and he wasn't even a jerk kid or anything. So I like that. I think that was strong, that you can build. And I got 2 friend requests out of it, which I haven't gotten a friend request out of a game that I wanted to accept in quite some time. So that was cool too. I'll probably play some more with those guys and have a lot of fun with that.
Well, good luck joining a game with them, because this game has an atrocious squad mode where it's easy to join a random game with random people, but every single time, I think Adam and I spent maybe 2 or 3 hours trying to get together in a party or a squad and join games, and it's just got some error where if 2 people try to join the same game at the same time, it'll just kick one out, or it'll put you on opposite teams, or I think half the time it just completely killed my game, and I would have to close the application and join back in. But that's just me venting a little bit. I agree with you. When I play with strangers, I do have that weird feeling that I've never had with another game, where all the communication and all the reliance you have to have on other people on your team does end up causing you to be like, hey, you know what? I want to be your friend now. I want to join up with you next time I can when you're online on PlayStation. Like you, I don't like adding people as my friend on PlayStation Network, because most of the time I hate playing online with people. But something about this game, like maybe 75% of the people I play with, they're just like, they're pretty cool people, and they're decent, and they're just trying to have a good time and play this game like it is. And then the other 25% are guys who are like upset because I'm not a high enough level, or they are like blasting music through their headphones and then complaining like I'm blasting music through my headphones, and I don't know what they're. There's a lot of buttholes out there.
We could have a whole podcast talking about that. I mean, I have a big gripe with people and how they handle, random groups and stuff. It's like, I think that the majority of the people doing that tend to just want to be assholes rather than looking to win or anything. I mean, in Fortnite, for example, I'm a big time Fortnite guy. So in that game, I mean, almost every round you have somebody who's just like, "You suck." Okay, well, nice to meet you.
Yeah. I guess that's totally me. Except I don't mean it. I don't mean it though.
Well, it's funny because being this gamer dad, I have my kid in my group with me most of the time, or a lot of the time, and so like, I had this guy jump in, and he was just like, "Yo, fuck y'all," whatever, and he was being all rude. And I was like, "Excuse me, dude." I'm like, "Are you looking to win this game, or should I just back out?" Basically cause you to have to back out too. And he's like, "No, man, I'm sorry." And I was like, "I'm just, And then we actually had a really strong game where we played together and everything. And I don't know, I'm so competitive. I suck at a lot of games, right? But I'm still competitive. I still try. And I hate when people get into a game with no desire to do good. I hate that. So this feels good with Firewall in that you're at least at this point in the lifespan, people are jumping in to learn and to play, but to win. I mean, 4-on-4 is pretty tight knit group.
Yeah.
So what did you guys
Alex,
think of?
I want you to go ahead and tell your thoughts. I want to go like rather quickly because I got some other questions for Kevin here. I'm sure you do too. But I want to finish covering Firewall. Alex is the type of guy, if you don't know Kevin, that he likes every game. It doesn't matter how bad it is. It could be Stunt Kite Master VR, and he's still going to love it. So I'm going to let Alex, love on this game, and then I'm going to bring you both back to reality and tell you why it's overhyped and some of the major flaws, kind of like what you did too, Kevin. But Alex, go ahead and tell us the rest of your thoughts about Firewall.
Yeah, like I said in the previous podcast, I think I have a history playing Counter-Strike. That was one of the games I got most into growing up, and maybe the only competitive game that I like seriously wanted to practice and get good at. And so seeing this come to VR was like a dream come true for me, because it's like, this is the closest I'm going to get to Counter-Strike in VR. And the fact that they have these matches where when you die, you stay dead until the match is over, that's fantastic. So Firewall Zero Hour, it gets like, 75, 80% of the mechanics spot on with what I want. I like this slower pace, team-based first-person shooter combat. That's what I'm into. And I also like the mission-based, team-based combat where, it's not all about trying to kill the other guys. There's an objective that you can work towards. And, maybe these guys are really good at murdering you, but if you can sneak around and hack the laptop, then you're going to do it. You're going to be able to win, and it's really going to cause problems for them. I enjoy that. So a lot of people are upset about the walking speed. I see where they're coming from, and if they have expectations of like Fortnite and stuff, I can see why that'd be bothersome. But man, the speed is perfect for me in this game. I think it really adds a lot of intensity to the matches where, the game will start. Some of these maps seem pretty big for 4 versus 4, and I spend maybe 10 minutes walking around not seeing anybody, and me and my 3 teammates are more or less spooked the entire time because we know at any moment we could pop around the corner and see a whole team of people. And then when you do finally see somebody, you kind of have to sit there and have that thought process of like, crap, do I want to engage now, or do I want to just kind of see what they're doing and be able to surprise them with an attack and really, really lock the win? And I love the thought process that happens there. And then when sometimes you're firing off shots, and while you're landing shots and you're taking shots, you're thinking in your head like, should I just back down? Should I like turn the corner and try to regroup myself? Should I go move somewhere else? What should I do? Should I keep fighting? Am I about to win? All these things going through your head, it just makes these firefights really intense. And normally I'm a kind of guy, like when I play GoldenEye, I love playing License to Kill mode because I love the whole idea that if you get the jump on somebody, they're going down unless you are exceptionally bad at shooting. Because if it was a real fight and I shot somebody first, I'm probably going to win. But here I like that, I'm able to take a couple bullets, and we're both able to take a couple bullets because the matches are, it's 4 versus 4 is what it maxes out at. So the matches can be done pretty quickly. And so if everybody died in 1 or 2 shots, then that's going to be a really short match. And one of the things I don't like about this game that is in contrast to Counter-Strike is that, Counter-Strike, it's like wham, bam, start again, where, you kill everybody on their team, and then the match immediately just basically starts over, and there's like a 10-second warm-up, and then we start the match again. Whereas here, when a match is done, it shows like the screen, like you lost, and then you got to go back to the lobby, and then you got to like make sure everybody's connected, and then wait like a minute and a half for the game to start again. And that part's really frustrating for me. Have you played any games like Rainbow Six or Counter-Strike, Kevin?
I have. Yeah, I have. And this that's the one, actually, I didn't say it. One of the biggest cons for me was the time between rounds was longer than the rounds themselves.
Yeah. And I mean, as much as I want them to just copy Counter-Strike completely, and I know there's probably reasons why they can't. There might be technical reasons, there might be legal reasons, but I just thought it was perfect in Counter-Strike when, the level's done and you have like 10 to 15 seconds to adjust your loadout and get ready for the next round and then start again. And there's very little wait time, but if you die right off the bat, then you have to wait. And so that it kind of has the compromise of, it feels like you're not wasting your time, but at the same time you have a reason to want to stay alive, and you have a reason to want to play. And
part of me really wanted to see this same game style in a Counter-Strike or Call of Duty style, where it's just run and gun, respawn. Maybe not run and gun, but even tactful movability, but respawn. Allow me to come back and continue to play, because the in between, if you die right off the bat, you're waiting 7-8 minutes before you can play again.
Yeah, and that's one of the frustrating things is when you die, even if it takes, a long time for the match to end, it might take 4 minutes for the match to end, but like you said, it's still at least 2 or 3 minutes before the match will begin. And that's assuming that the connection issues won't get in your way, which I know we're probably beating a dead horse that the internet has just like flogged all week since the game came out, and that the connectivity issues, the connection issues that they have here are miserable. It's disappointing that a game that has been released to be an online only game from the start, everybody knew this is an online only game, and they just can't figure out like a lobbying system. I mean, Battlezone nailed it. Battlezone, you start a game, you have a lobby, you wait, and then if I want to join a game, I see all the games that are available, and I can see their ping, and I can see how many people are in it and what difficulty it is or what level and stuff. Why can't we do that? Well, I understand there might be matchmaking reasons. Do an unranked contracts matchmaking where I can just like click a button and see, oh, look, there's a game that's got, 6 out of 8 people in it, and maybe there's an average level or something like that. And hey, my ping is really good. There's been some times when I tried, 6 or 7 times to join a game, and the host leaves and I get kicked out, and I finally connect to a game and my ping is terrible, and everybody's kind of like fidgeting around like a robot or something. And it's really frustrating. And so
yeah.
It's something they're probably going to be able to fix. So I can't hold it against them too hard, but to come out and launch with these kind of issues, and that's not even to go into the fact that it's impossible to play with friends. It is impossible. Me and Adam never played one game together except for like a private tutorial match, which is just pointless. I want to play contracts. We want to play contracts. We would love to do like a 4 versus 4 full of people that we know. It would be fantastic. So I don't know what to tell them to do. But aside from those complaints, the aim controller, fantastic. The shooting, the combat in this game, the gameplay, the meat of this game is so good that it makes me power through these problems so that I can continue to play the game. Because when I'm in the moment, when I'm creeping around corners, or I'm hiding behind boxes, or I'm working with my team, or we're communicating, I'm having a hell of a time. It is awesome. So,
yeah, man, I agree with that a lot. I really enjoyed it.
If they can polish these issues, then they're gonna have a fantastic game on their hands. It just sucks that right now, like, it's so hard to get it going, and it's so hard to play with friends and stuff like that.
All right. Well, actually, you didn't love that as much as I thought you would, Alex. But you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you my thoughts very quickly. Then we're gonna start talking to Kevin here about some other stuff that's not Firewall. So first thing is, I think the game is good. Okay. I do not think that it's great. I do think it is overrated. I actually think it's fairly overrated, but like you said, Kevin, sometimes it's more like, I thought Moss was grossly, like, way, way overrated. But you know what? If it does good toward VR, I'm okay with it. It can be overrated, whatever. First thing, you're both right. It has way too long of wait times. Kevin, you were like, you've only played 5 hours? Are you kidding me? I've played 5 hours in the waiting room. It's ridiculous. It's so stupid. That's a waste of time. One, you play with sometimes these people who, they must have no lives because they're like level 50 already, and they one-shot kill you. That is so aggravating. And when you already spend 40 minutes to even get in a match, and then you're matched up against these people who are way too strong, it just sucks. It's miserable when your only option is to leave, re-enter, and hope to God that you get a match within a reasonable time. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to match people up based off skill level. Like, just go by their actual level, okay? You put the 30s to 40s together and 20s to 30s together and so on. Like, that should be easily done. That sucks. One, it's another thing that's very grindy. It takes forever. I finally got to level 7, and I was like, yes, I can buy my first gun, all right. And then you need like 15,000 cryptocurrencies, which take forever to get. It's way too grindy. I'm never going to play that game enough to buy anything of consequence. Second, you guys already mentioned, I mean, this is actually like the 5th point. Connection issues, that's a mess. You already talked about it, so there's no reason to keep going. Between the rounds is a whole minute. It's an entire minute between rounds. You've got to be kidding me. What are you thinking? That's stupid. Can't play with your friends. Alex, as much as I hate to admit that he's my friend, couldn't play with him. Another thing that's stupid is that when you go and you unarm the firewall and then you go to the laptop, why the F do you need to stand by the laptop and get taken train up your butt by all the enemies because you can't move? It's stupid. They put the laptop in the middle of the level. People can come at you 8 different directions. If you were in that scenario, you could hack the laptop, that's fine. But then you could leave and it's still getting hacked. You shouldn't have to stand there like a sitting goat. That's stupid. One, you guys mentioned walking faster. Exactly. Like, I can walk faster on my 2 butt cheeks. It's stupid. It's dumb. Just make some increased walking speed. I don't understand what people are talking about, like, intense. Like, I feel like I'm playing a game, man. Like, I played the persistence, and that to me was intense. I didn't know where the enemies were coming. It was dark. It was terrifying. It got the suspense, anticipation. It made me nervous. Same thing with Resident Evil. It's so obviously a game that it's like, who cares? I get shot and die? Like, big deal. I encountered one time in which was a little intense, but I think that all that talk, I think that's a little overrated too. I don't understand what's intense about it. Another thing that concerns me are 2 things. One, I don't know why they published this game. They had to know it wasn't ready yet. I mean, I think for the most part it's ready. It didn't flounder like Ranch Planet did. It's serviceable, but like, come on. You knew that this was going to be the like end all be all PSVR game. You should have polished it up, made sure it didn't suck when it came out. And the connections issues were just, I think, unnecessary. And then I will be intrigued in about 4 months. Like, what's the fan base going to be? Is this going to be one of those games where you play for 2 months and then you go in and you have to wait a half an hour to get a match, not because of connection issues, but because people have already moved on to the next better and greater thing? So if you want, one of you 2 can address one of those issues each, or we can just move on, and we got other questions for Joe or Kevin. Joel's the other dude who's Kevin's partner who didn't show up, and I still have him on our notes. So,
Adam, can you send me a video of what it looks like when you walk on your 2 butt cheeks?
Yeah, I'll do it pretty quick. You're going to have to open your eyes because I'll zoom by there, unlike Firewall.
So I want to address some of the stuff that you talked about. I think that the player base right now is strong, right? It's brand new, just came out. If they don't have any additional game modes, if they don't upkeep this game kind of like, quickly, people are going to turn away quickly. So if, say, next week they have something that they add to tweak things, and if they don't do that, they're going to lose because the amount of games that are out there, especially for VR and the VR enthusiasts that are trying all these different things. I mean, literally next week we got Spider-Man dropping, and I know that's not a VR game, but that game's going to pull quite a few people. A couple weeks after that, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 4. A couple weeks after that, we got Battlefield 55 or whatever it is. And so, there's games that are going to pull parts of the audience away. I think that, and those are potentially the same types of people playing this game and some of the other games in VR. Most VR players play flat as well. There's a few you hear that say, oh, I'm VR for life. And then you hear a few that say, I'm never going to play VR. But let's be real. Most people are going to play a little bit of both. And so if this game loses its thunder and it doesn't regain that thunder, then it's done. If it doesn't lose its thunder and it maintains with updates and different game modes, then I think it could last and persist for a while. But there is going to be more things are going to come out, like you said, down the line, and it's going to rejuvenate that, that desire to jump into something else. Right now, I really do want to play this game, and I want to get back in and play a little bit more. But you know what else I want to play? I want to play some Electronauts, something like that. I don't mind that either. I mean, jumping in and just making some music or something. But when Dreams comes out, what is that going to do to the player base of any of these games? If Dreams is anything like they say it's going to be. So you're right. And in this game, if it takes 30 minutes to get in there, that's going to be tough.
So Kevin, I want you to hold that thought real quick, and I apologize to the listener, but I have gone through too much gamer juice. So we are going to pause the recording for a second, so you might hear a jarring cut, but we'll be right back, I promise, because I love you all, and I don't want to leave you hanging.
Dude, you got by the gamer juice?
I got by the gamer juice. I will be right back.
You're pathetic. Look at this. This is so...
Sorry about that, Adam. I just had to interrupt you real quick so I could go use the restroom and get rid of the excess gamer juice. What were you saying, Kevin? Did you have more stuff you want to say about Firewall Zero Hour?
I think we pretty much covered everything. There's just one last little tiny bit that if any of the devs are listening, please give us the ability to crawl when we're downed. If I'm shot in the leg, I'm going to try to get the hell out of Dodge and rather than just sit there and get plucked off. So give us the ability to crawl. I think that's a key factor.
That's a good point, because it'd be nice if you could just, like, it can be really slow, just enough to get me behind a box so one of my homies can come get me. Yeah, that's interesting. Adam, did you have anything else you want to say about Firewall Zero Hour?
I just thought that was interesting because I've heard through the grapevine that Alex likes to get plugged. So I that's weird that he's complaining about that. But okay, so Kevin, the whole point, I wanted to kind of also ask about general PSVR, but we just didn't get to it because we were rambling on too much. So my first thing is, so you played PSVR. I'm sure you said you've had it since like launch, so you probably played a ton of games. So you're a great person to ask. What is your favorite PSVR game in the entire library?
So yeah, that's a great question. And when I try to limit it to one, it's tough. But when I think of the games that I've played, and maybe this is a little cliche, but I have to say Farpoint. I know that there's a lot of overhype with that, but Farpoint was the first VR game that I felt so immersed that I was outside of this world. And maybe that's a little bit to do with why I love it so much, or, I have not gone back and replayed it. And I have done very little of the multiplayer aspect of it. So take this with a grain of salt. But at the same time, the experience itself in its entirety was very strong for me. I didn't mind the story. I've heard critiques of it. I've heard, people love it. But the story itself was okay. I felt like I knew the ending quite early on, what probably was going to happen. And there was a couple of little twists here and there. But the reality is, when you're walking through that desert and you're looking around and you come up to a cliff, you feel like you're going to fall off the side of that cliff if you step a little bit too far. At least that's where I was. And it took a little while because the first hour or two, it's really slow playing and you just get the same spiders over and over again. But once you start fighting the humanoid type aliens, there's a funny little side story there is that I was playing this game and I had the headphones on and I was really immersed. I mean, probably the most I've ever been. And my wife was standing in front of me, yelling at me, telling me to get ready for dinner. And I didn't know she was there. Meanwhile, a humanoid had popped up like right where she was standing in real life. And so I went to shoot her and she swatted at me or hit me on the shoulder or something. And it scared the living shit out of me. I mean, absolutely gave me a panic attack like you wouldn't believe, because I was so immersed in the game and I didn't realize I was that immersed. And I think that really sets it home to me as far as immersion goes. That's what I look for in VR is, do I feel like I'm outside of this current world? And that's what I wanted. I mean, all my life, I wanted to be able to believe and feel like I was somewhere else. For example, if you're on a beach side, does it really feel like you're on a beach side, or does it feel like you're watching a video of being on a beach side? So Farpoint did that for me. There's a whole lot of other games that I would put high on the list. A lot of them are very old, but it's funny we can say old, right? VR's only been out for a couple of years, but I think Rez was a very strong game.
That's right.
For the VR.
That's right.
And that was, especially when you get to level X or whatever it's called. It's just
Area X, yeah.
Area X. It's just another world. I mean, it takes you so far out of the current zone. Your mind goes crazy. Another one is Super Hot. I think that's a very strong game because it's a style of game I've never played. So with the VR aspect, I guess this was a flat game as well, but the fact that if you move your head, the world moves and you can duck and all this and that. So I felt like that was one of the first games where you could actually utilize the duck and move and this and that. So Super Hot was a very good game to me. And then there's always the fun of Job Simulator, just messing around in there. And so Job Simulator is a game I show people who are new to VR. I'll just plop them in there and they could play for hours. No motion sickness, none of that stuff. So those are a couple of the ones on my list. Then I think Wipeout is, if you have played that, you gotta love it. I hate racing games and I love Wipeout.
Nice.
Yeah, I think to to speak on Farpoint, I think Farpoint's one of those games that really, you know, as celebrated as it is, I don't think it gets the credit it deserves. That game had so many ways that it could have failed. You know, like graphically, it could have been really weak. And being the first game with the aim controller, it could have kind of flubbed it, and everybody still would have loved it because the aim controller was fun. And even story wise, it could have been like a complete turd story wise. But I have to admit, like when I put on the headset and I started Farpoint, I was blown away by how good it looked graphically. I mean, it's not the most incredible graphical feat, but it looked way better than it had any right to be, especially for the environments that they were like showing off. And then some of the enemies, that giant spider you fight early on, I wish they had more boss fights, because that was one of the most amazing, one of the most amazing things that happens in VR is when you see that giant spider, you're terrified to your bones. And then on top of all that, it just has the most wonderful gameplay, because it's the first time we've been able to use the aim controller, something like the aim controller, and you really feel like you have the gun in your hand and you rotate it around, you look at it. Farpoint the experience of playing Farpoint for the first time was something truly special. And I'm like you, I played through it once. I absolutely adored it, and I've barely touched the multiplayer, and I haven't gone through it again. But I almost don't want to, because of how the reverence I have for Farpoint and how spectacularly what's their name? I forget their name. The developers, Impulse Gear, how spectacularly they knocked it out of the park. And so, yeah, I think that's one of the best games too. Adam, if you don't have anything else, I'm going to ask him the next question. Is that okay?
I think, yeah, you ask him one final question, and then let's move on with the rest of the stuff we have to cover.
Okay. I just want to ask you, what do you think is the most underrated PSVR game, Kevin, and why is it Stunt Kite Master VR?
I hate you so much. I am so sick of hearing about Stunt Kite Master VR.
Well, when you put the fan right in front of you when you're flying the kite, it's like nothing out that you can even replicate.
You don't have to muse me. It's okay.
So the most underrated VR game. Let's see. I mean, I have so many. I have a lot. I have a big catalog. But as far as games that I've played that would have a rating system like this, let's see. Let me just give me the 10 seconds off the top of my head, because
I'll talk about Stunt Kite Masters and you just tell me when you're ready. So Adam, I was playing Stunt Kite Masters the other day.
Okay. You are the worst.
Okay, go ahead.
So for underrated VR games, I'm gonna have to say this goes back a ways, but Robinson the Journey. Now that is Alex, or I'm sorry, Adam. You're gonna yell at me here because I know that this was overrated, but at the same time, in all the critique I've heard about that game being overrated, I think it really is underrated in the sense of what that could accomplish and what that did accomplish for VR. So without laughing at me, let me explain why. I really enjoyed Robinson the Journey. Same thing with some of these other games. Okay, let me set the tone here for a second. There's so much crap in VR. There's so much shovelware and so much junk. Just like when the Wii came out, all these developers go ham on trying to get as much as they can, try to get that penny, pinch that penny as fast as possible, right? So Robinson's a complete game. Now, complete games in VR are much shorter than complete games in regular flat games. So this was one of the first games that took several hours to go through and beat. There's definitely some things that could have been way better for it, like using move controllers to utilize your hands as opposed to the aim control or the DS4. But visually, I thought it was awesome. I thought it really, really captured the environment that they were trying to capture. Being able to see dinosaurs that close up, something that, Jurassic Park, you always, if you ever wanted to really go there, you kind of got to feel that. You got to be close up to some of this stuff. So I don't believe that the trash on the overratedness is legit. I do believe that this game, to this day, still holds up as a playable game, a playable experience. One of the things that I will say about it is it made me so sick the first couple of times I played it that I had to put the VR system down for like days. But some of those early games were so well built. Riggs is another one that I think got a lot of I don't want to swear too much, but it got shit on pretty hard. And that game is beautiful. I mean, it's still to this day, if you put it in right now, I guarantee you compare that to any of these other games, it's crisper than most VR games out there. And the gameplay, once you got into the games, was strong. It was fun. I had a lot of fun playing rigs, but there was so much going on outside of the gameplay, so much going on with the world that they tried to, the environment and all that, that it kind of took away from the actual gameplay. When you're playing like NBA Jam or something, you want to go from game to game to game to game. In that, it's like, okay, round over, let's go back and rally up and build this. And I don't know. There was a lot of stuff going on in that game, and I think if they focused more on the gameplay itself than the environments, but the environments were beautiful. So those two games right there, they're very early PSVR games, but I think that as far as rated, they get a lot of hate these days, and I just want to say I don't think they deserve it. I think that they were pioneers in their industry. Unfortunately, the rigs development team is gone, but it's a great game.
Nice.
Yeah, I enjoyed rigs. It's free, so that's why I played it. But like you said, it takes too long to get a game going. I hated sitting there listening to them talk to me about sponsorships and stuff. I think they would have had a lot more success if they had just gone full on deathmatch with it and kept the graphics the same. It's a fun gameplay concept, but it's really would have been more fun to just blast more robots and play the game that way. And I think the problem with Robinson, I'm really intrigued by it. I want to play it, but it's still like $40 or something on the store. So I don't know what's going on there, but it's really good. But we need to move on because this episode's starting to get long. So Adam, if you don't have anything else,
I have one question. I want one sentence answer here, Kevin, because we forgot to tell you when you jumped on, and that was my bad. It was Alex's bad too. But we want to know, if you've been following us, you know what gamer juice is. Just you're playing a game, it's long, and you're excited. It's Friday night. What is your drink of choice? What is your gamer juice?
Well, I don't know if there's kids listening, but I tend to jump on the Miller Lite or Bud Light bandwagon pretty fast. I'm all
right.
On a Friday night, I need a beer too.
Dude, there you go. Perfectly fine. All right. Sweet. We've already mentioned ours. You can listen back and figure out what we're drinking. But,
absolutely.
So
Adam's is bong water.
Bong water. That's right.
We've got plenty going around tonight. He's going to be full.
That's right. You're not joking. Okay, so we got one upcoming release coming out on September 6th here, and it's pretty highly anticipated. Zone of the Enders second runner. It has 2 demos now, and I thought it was all right. I mean, nothing extraordinary. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Alex? I think it's going to be a fairly expensive game too, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's strictly VR. I think it's a remastered edition of the second Zone of the Enders game, which I was a fan of the Zone of the Enders game. They're PlayStation 2 games, and they're produced by Hideo Kojima of the Metal Gear Solid fame. And I really enjoyed those games, and so I'm looking forward to playing them in VR, even though the first demo was really underwhelming and kind of sickening at times. I've heard the second demo is better, so I have it downloading, and I'm probably going to play it after we get recording. So if you guys can hurry up and let me play that so that I can be ready to talk about it next week, that'd be great. Have you played Zone of the Enders, Kevin?
I have. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it either. I think that there's definitely a market for that type of game. It's just not mine.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that sentiment going around a lot. So next, we're going to burn through the sales really quick so that we don't talk everybody's ear off. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say the game and the price, and I want you guys to tell me yes or no, or just like 1 or 2 words about what you feel about this game and this price, okay?
Gotcha.
Yeah, we'll bounce back and forth. Kevin, you take the first one, then I'll take the next, and we'll just flip-flop.
Perfect.
Oh, okay. Here they lie for free.
I'll take it.
Oh, good deal. Adam, The Soulless Project, $5.99.
I heard it's not. I've heard mixed reviews. I don't know. Neutral.
No, way to ride the fence there. Kevin, Football Nation VR Tournament 2018 Championship Edition pre-order bonus, $2.99.
So I know there's a lot of people that love soccer. I'm going to call it soccer and not football. If this was called Soccer Nation VR, I might jump on that $2.99, but it's called Football Nation, and I know that more of the world agrees with that sentiment, but I'm on the bandwagon of football is football, okay? You use a big skin, you kick it through the uprights. So I'll get a lot of hate for that, but no, if this was Soccer Nation VR, I would pull the trigger just because of the name. But.
Yeah. Use the money you save buying it for $2.99. Put that $2.99 towards a better name, aka Soccer Nation VR. Adam, cat lateral damage, $3.99.
No.
All right.
My kids love that one, by the way. It's their favorite VR game.
Your kids are under 12, Kevin. I'm calling Child Protective Services. But while I call in, can you tell me what you think about Light Tracer for $5.99?
I'm just looking at the image and I'm going to say no, but I don't know anything about this game other than it looks like an underage girl in a short skirt, and I'm all set.
More than enough reason to buy it for Adam, who I'm going to ask about Along Together for $7.99.
No. If I wanted to watch little kids play with themselves, I'm not even going to finish that. No, don't buy it.
Who's calling Child Protective Services?
I got 2 phones and they're both busy.
Hurry up, move on.
Speaking of playing with yourself, Pixel Junk VR Dead Hungry, Kevin, $7.99.
So already purchased. It's already in the backlog. I think this definitely has a charm to it that I'm looking forward to playing. But I'm not going to go. I wouldn't pay more than $8 for it. So.
All right, Adam, take a big old rip on your joint and tell me about Thumper, $7.99.
Ooh, that's a good game. If you don't have it, $7.99, you should pull the trigger.
All right, give me the celery sticks, give me the carrot sticks, and Kevin, tell me about Ranch Planet for $6.99.
I'm going to go ahead and just throw the biggest no that I could at you two, because I couldn't even imagine paying $1.99 for this game. This game looks like trash.
Yeah, and it is trash. I've played it, and it's terrible, terrible, terrible. And you're right. Adam, Knockout League for $14.99.
Again, if you want to sweat real big, I would do it. But if not, honestly, if you don't have it at this point, I would wait for Creed. A little more serious, $10 more, but still I think it would be worth it. I would wait for Creed.
All right, Kevin, Mervils, a VR adventure, $9.99.
I forget what I got Mervils at. I think I got Mervils at like $4.99. To be honest, I have not played that either, but it did have a familiar gameplay style from that overhead third person that Astrobot in the VR, what's it called, Playroom experience. So I got that. I don't know if I'd pay $10 for this late in the game. I think there are better games out there for your money, just from what I've seen. But I don't have a firsthand experience for this one. So,
yeah, I've bought it and have not played it as well. Adam, Star Trek Bridge Crew, $19.99.
Nah, there's no one online, bro. Skip it.
All right, Kevin, Apex Construct, $14.99, factoring in the fact that the physical version just came out, and I believe it came out at $29.99.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on this one as well. I for some reason, this one also did not feel like my style of game. So no, $15 is too much for this one for me.
Tough customers. Adam, Super Hypercube, $14.99.
No, $15. You kidding me? Get out of here.
All right, this one has your name written all over it, Adam. Not Adam, Kevin. Toho Kabuto 5 Burst Battle Girls Edition. $9.99.
This one's a setup, isn't it?
Yeah.
You already have it, don't you?
I don't own this one. I don't plan on owning this one. I don't see myself owning this one. So $10 is a little too steep.
All right, Adam, Monster of the Deep, Final Fantasy 15, riding in the car with your girlfriend, $14.99.
It's good. What's her name? Big Tit McGee, something like that. Pretty good game. $15. It's pretty fun. If you have any interest in this game, you should buy it. If not, I would skip.
All right, Kevin.
Can I ask a quick question on this one, because I actually do have some interest on it?
Yeah.
Is this more than just a fishing game? Is it fishing and action, or is it really just fishing in a Final Fantasy world?
So you catch fish. The main campaign is you catch fish, and then at the end of the level, there's one big monster that then you start shooting with a crossbow, which has nothing to do with fishing. But then you defeat the enemy, and then you have to catch them. And I guess
I don't know where you go fishing.
It's mainly fishing, but it's not just like catch and release. So I mean, okay. It has that little extra kick to it.
Alex, I don't know where Adam's been, but usually I have to finish my fish off with a crossbow.
Yeah, I think Adam's used to using a shotgun to finish it off, so it's kind of weird for him to use a crossbow.
That's true.
Rick and Morty, Kevin, Virtual Rickality for $17.99.
Yeah, I might pull the trigger on this. I've heard some things about the tracking on the PSVR version of this game, but I loved Accounting Plus, and I think that $17.99 might be worth it for this one. I don't have a strong tie to the Rick and Morty world, but yeah, I think I might pull the trigger on this one.
Let us know if you do. Adam, Run Dorothy Run for $19.99.
Good game, but not $20 good. It needs to be around the $12.99 for you to pull the trigger.
All right, Kevin, Gnog for $9.99.
Yeah, I played the demo of this one, and I don't know if I'm just dumb, but I couldn't get past the first thing, and I never played it again. So I don't think I would pay $10 for it. Maybe $2.
Hey, that's better than the Ranch Planet. Yeah, Adam, Symphony of the Machine for $13.99.
No, too artsy, doesn't look fun. Keep your money.
All right, Kevin, Eagle Flight and Werewolves Within PSVR bundle for $99.99. I'm just joking, $39.99. And I'm not joking. It's $39.99.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that price should be $99.99 at this. When you're looking at, these games have been out for over a year now, and I don't believe there's a major player base in Werewolves Within anymore. So this price is not going to drive that player base up any higher. I did just get Eagle Flight recently, but I think I paid $7 for it or something, maybe $10 for it. And I haven't gotten too deep into that, but I have played it. I'm going to say this is triple what the price should be for this package at this point in the game.
Sounds about right. Adam, Evasion coming out soon for $31.99 for a pre-order. What do you think?
Looks good, but honestly, I would just wait for reviews maybe. I'm not buying it right now. I'll put it that way.
Sounds appropriate. Kevin, Code 51, Mecha Arena for $15.99.
This one, I wish it was $9.99. I'd probably pull the trigger at $9.99. I'm going to pass on $15.99.
All right, Adam, Robinson the Journey for $49.99.
Dude, $50? That's a lot of money. I can't do it. I can't do it, Kevin.
I would say wait till it's 30. It's going to be 30, probably Black Friday.
30. It's been out for so long. Anyways, Kevin, tell me about Creed: Rise to Glory for $26.99 to pre-order.
That's a yes for me. I'm gonna get that. And when you were talking about Knockout League earlier, I love Knockout League. I think it's a lot of fun. You expend a lot of energy. You sweat a lot. So if you want to lose some weight, but I'll tell you what. What's the company that makes these games? The Creed and
Servios.
Servios is just becoming my favorite VR developer. So yeah. I'm all in for any game that they put out right now, and I'm all in for this game right here. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. Adam, this is the easy one for you. Torn. Maybe it's already out. $23.99.
Yeah, it's already out. It's freaking. They tore me a new one. Do yourself a freaking favor and don't buy it.
All right, and that is it for our sales for the week. Hopefully these are still live by the time everybody gets to the podcast. So moving on, I think all we have left now is our airing of grievances. Adam, do you want to start us off?
Okay, how about we let's have Kevin. I want him to opportunity to tell us where can we find your podcast. Maybe like a synopsis, what it's about. Let us be happy for a little bit here, and then we'll tear up the airing of grievances next.
Good call.
Perfect.
So yeah, Kevin, tell us just where can we find the Backlog Exposed, what it's about, anything else you want to plug. You got the, microphone or whatever you have.
I got the Blue Yeti right here, right in front of me. So yeah, the Backlog Exposed. It's a fun little podcast that I do with my teammate Joe. It goes by Joel, whatever. He is one of the funnest guys I've ever been around in my entire life. And so I met him a few years ago. We would go. He's a huge video gamer. I mean, he's got 2, 3, 4 of every system that there is. He's got a whole setup where his wall is just video game consoles. He has almost every color N64. I mean, this guy just lives and breathes video games. So when I met him, when you're adult life, it's kind of hard to make new bro friends. You got to go to the gym or something and flex in the mirror, and maybe someone will come by and tell you look good, but I don't look good. So so it's tough. I went to a birthday party. It was like a kid birthday party, and me and this guy were just sitting in the back, 2 dads, and I mentioned playing some VR or something, and he perked up. We started talking video games, and the rest is history. So Joe and I, we rattle on for about an hour an episode. Sometimes we go 2, sometimes we go 30 minutes, and we just talk. We talk about current events in video games. We talk about the stuff that we're playing. These days, it is a lot of Fortnite and stuff, but I'm trying to get a lot of VR content onto our podcast because one of my goals is to talk Joe into buying a VR headset. I wish he could have made it to this podcast here, because I think the more he's around it, because he is a collector, the more chance he pulls the trigger and just goes for it. So one of these days he's gonna. I know he is. He might already have one and just not be telling me. But he is really fun. He's kind of like my color commentary. He has a lot of insight into the history of some of these games and things, and he's a sniper elite. I mean, this guy can pick people off in whatever game it is. So it's fun to play with him as well. That being said, where can you find us? We are thebacklogexposed.com. That's our website. And the website has all the access to everything you need to get to us. You can click on the latest episode right on our website, things like that. But if you're inclined to search rather than go to our website, you can search for us on any of the major podcast networks, Apple iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever they call themselves these days, Google Play Music, TuneIn, Player FM, all that fun stuff. Just search for us. We should come up. If we don't, you can email us, thebacklogexposed@gmail.com. And I love our theme music. I'm going to give a plug here. I found this guy who makes theme music and stuff like that. He just uses a Game Boy to generate theme music. So this guy, he put a whole bunch of stuff out there, and I went and, it's free music. So free music archive. So I went out there and grabbed it. The guy's name is Rocco W. Listen to him. The guy's got some badass tracks out there. So that's the podcast. We generally rotate around gaming stuff. We do talk about entertainment, do talk about sports. We're just dads. We're two dads with very little time and a lot of love for gaming. That's our slogan. And trying to get more into the VR world, like I said, definitely foresee myself doing a more VR-centric podcast on that same channel, because I think that this is very important, what you guys are doing and what some of these other podcasts are doing. This is a niche market that is growing. It's just taken some time, and I think we all want to see VR succeed. So when you have games like Torn and, Ranch Planet, and you have these high expectations on some of this stuff, and then they come out and they're not what they should be, you got to have a voice that's able to say, skip this one, go to the next one. That way the developers are held to the fire. And I want to be part of that. I want to be part of being able to work with developers and tell them what works and doesn't work. And I hope that I have a voice that's loud enough at some point or another. You guys are getting there. Some of the other podcasts and YouTube channels are out there that are really driving some really strong numbers, and I love to see it. So thank you for having me on. Thank you for giving me just a portion of my voice to share with your customers and your listeners. And definitely I see us all as a group of people working together. None of us are combatants. We're teammates.
Yeah, well, Adam and I are combating, but yeah, thank you for coming on here, because I get really tired of talking to Adam sometimes, and it's nice to have some sane people who like good games on here, and not cynical jerks like Adam. But speaking of cynicism, Adam, do you want to go on to the airing your grievances now?
Sure. Okay. Here's the thing, guys. I couldn't decide between ripping Torn a new one or Firewall a new one. So you know what? I already tore Torn apart. So you see what I did there? Torn. Anyhow, I'll pick on Firewall for a little bit. It's most stuff we've already talked about, but what the heck are you doing? There's such long load times in Firewall. It is unbelievable. I literally pull up a game on the N64. I play a little bit of it while I'm waiting in the waiting room in Firewall. That is stupid. Why? That's unnecessary. When you're waiting for a contract, you don't need to wait a minute. It's stupid and it's preventable. Stop it. And stop matching people up and start matching them based off experience and not just random, because I'm sick of getting one-shotted. It's not fair. I can't get any better because I can't get experience because these people don't do anything to play the freaking game. And let us play with our friends. All we want to do is play with my friends, and I can't do it. The whole point was to play with your friends, and you can't. Why? What is going on? You are supposed to be right off. I don't care if it's the first week, the first hour, the first second. This whole game has been waiting for months, and you're supposed to be a big, heavy hitter PSVR title. Well, guess what? How many first week glitches and bugs did Resident Evil 7 have? None. How about the persistence? None. Moss? None. How about Wipeout? None. It's a mark of a great game, not a good game. You're not a great game. You're a good game. Don't suck. Fix it, or don't publish the freaking game until it's ready. Also, Torn, learn what a puzzle is. That's bullcrap. You suck. Go ahead, Alex.
All right, that was nice, Adam. My area of agreements first. I want to call out. Listen, developers, PSVR developers, I love you. I love playing your games, but can you guys please not release all of them on the exact same day? I swear, I want to play catch and release. I love that kind of game. I want to play Bout of Blood. It's awesome. I want to play Firewall Zero Hour. It's fantastic, and I know I'm missing a game here, but that's just because you guys.
Stupid crap.
I want to play Torn, but you guys are releasing all these games at the same time. What is going on here, guys? Just pace it out 2 seconds. I don't know what the process is, but there's got to be something when you can look and say, my game's coming out at the exact same time as Firewall Zero Hour. Maybe I can wait a week. Maybe I can wait 2 weeks. Do this for me, guys. I want you guys. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a Google Calendar, and you guys can log in and see when Alex is ready to play your game and release your game at that moment. So that's my first grievance. My second grievance is with DogRat69. He's a guy I played against. In Firewall Zero Hour. This is hilarious. We after hours of trying to get on a server, I finally get on a server and we start the game. And this dude, DogRat69, goes running out immediately and gets wasted right off the bat. He's across the map from our entire team. Nobody can save him. Dude gets blasted out like it's nobody's business. And then, we play the rest of the match, but we're a man down and we eventually die. The second you go back into the lobby, DogRat69 is like, man, you guys suck. There's so many people here that suck. Why do you guys suck so much? What level are you? And you can't see what level the people are in your lobby. So I just told him I was the same level as him. And he was like, I'm level 20. What level are you? I said, oh, no, I'm level 69 because his name was DogRat69. But this dude, he's decked out in like all of the expensive camo. He's got the most expensive weapon. Dude has obviously been playing the game for since it came out, he probably hasn't put it down. And he just comes in and starts blaming us for sucking when right off the bat, he gets killed like 20 seconds into the first match. DogRat69, you are my grievance for the week. And it is hilarious how bad and oblivious you are at Firewall Zero Hour. I hope you listen to this podcast and I hope you unsubscribe because you are an embarrassment to PlayStation VR. Kevin, do you have anything you want to say, an airing of grievance?
I do, and you both gave 2, so I'm going to give 2 as well.
Right.
The first one, come on, developers, Sony, whoever the hell it is, stop delivering these games with turn clicking and blinders. We don't need it, okay? If we need it, we'll go to the settings and we'll turn it on. We're VR players. We're not kids, or we're not supposed to be kids. You give us a warning, children under 12 aren't allowed to play, okay? So give us the normal movement, give us the whole screen. I'm sick and tired of it. Okay, so that's my first grievance. The second thing is fire alarms. Okay, I don't know how many games I get in, but I'll tell you what, I'd say 1 out of every 2 or 3 games, you hear the beep in the background when you're playing a multiplayer game. And the first game I got into in Firewall, beep, beep. I mean, come on. Your batteries. Your goddamn house is going to burn down. It doesn't take much. And you know what? That has got to be so annoying. If you're playing with somebody whose battery needs to be changed in their fire alarm, they don't care about winning. They don't care about nothing because they don't even care about their own lives. Now, I did have a talk with somebody recently about this, and they did give me some insight and said, that is indicative of lower income housing and things like that. So no offense to anybody in the scenarios and the situations they're at in their lives. But you know what? I don't care if you're in a low income housing or $1 million house. Fix your batteries. This is the dad coming out in me. Save your family. Okay? So that's my grievance of the week.
Yeah, I think we have a GoFundMe set up to try to fund battery purchases for low-income housing. So you don't got to feel bad about grieving on them because we have the GoFundMe. Just go to GoFundMe.com, Kevin's Battery Fund.
All right. Okay, guys, we want to thank you for listening to this somewhat extra long Play PSVR podcast. We want to thank Kevin, who stuck with us this long. You're the only one who lasted this long. Our parents wouldn't even listen to this that long. So thank you, Kevin. And we love the contact you guys have with us. Every time we get a comment from you or a tweet from you or one of you send a message to us via our website, anything like that, it literally makes our day. So we thank you guys so much. Keep it coming. Check us out at PlayPSVR.com. Check out our Twitter. Recently, I've really been making a push for our Twitch account. I've just been playing on Twitch all the time. So come say hi, talk to me. Let's talk some PSVR, baby. I'm ready to go. I'll be there for you. And now my gamer juice is kind of getting to me, so I gotta go take a leak. So that's it for this week. We'll catch you next week, guys.